Welcome back to Moonshine Performance. I think this is the day. We've been working on this car for 3 years now, I believe, haven't we? It's been 3 years?
4 years, yeah.
3 years, 4. And I think it's finally ready to fire. We've been working like crazy the last few months to try to get this thing ready. It's a 421 small block. Obviously, it's 400 stroked. Everything forged, of course. It's built to the brim. It's got a full billet blower, a 671 blower. It's injected on alcohol with a mechanical pump driven off of a cam. And it's got around a 645 lift cam, so it's not massive, but it's a decent cam, and it's blown. So this thing's...
Body for it.
Yep, there's the body for it up here. It's modeled after a 1932 Ford Vicky. We're not Ford guys, but if it runs, we'll run it. And she should be ready. We had to do a lot of custom work to this thing to get it here, because you can't buy a lot of these parts, but it's still missing a lot of parts, but we're just trying to get it fired today. This is going to be a big eye-opener and milestone for us. So this is what we're working on today. So we're going to get to it. So first we're going to go ahead and squirt some 110 racing fuel in here on the butterflies to get everything primed up. And I guess it'll fire on that. This is the first time we're ever firing injected alcohol or anything like this. And then of course it'll start sucking alcohol from the tank with the pump and hopefully run. We got the leak down set. Everything's good to go there. I just kind of learning a new program here. We have the 7531 MSD box right there on the side. And we're just trying to figure this stuff out, and this is all new, so we're learning. But she's going to go. So like I said, we're going to prime it and see what happens. Get a lot. Okay, ready?
Timing. Is you.
Oh, I don't even need that fuel.
Fuel.
Yeah, give her a lot.
Keep feeding that son. That's how we Where's the timing on that motherfucker?
Who the hell knows?
Got a whole different sound now. Yeah.
Hit it.
Ready?
Yeah.
That's a blower surge. Yeah.
Hit it.
Ready?
Yeah.
God, that's loud.
Did your thing fall out?
Yeah, blew my ear plug out.
Hit her.
We're gonna get a lot of that.
We had to consult a fellow racer to get this, to figure out our front engine blown alky car. As you can see, this is was a big block, and it's very similar to our car in terms of the injection system. So we figured, and he knows this stuff very well. This car's name is Boogeyman, and I'm sure you'll see it at the strip this year. We'll get some videos of it going down the drag strip. But I think it runs right now, I believe it's at 450 at 160 mile an hour, 150 mile an hour in the 8th. And that's kind of our hopes for our front engine. But this thing sure is a pretty car. It moves on out. She got a 1471 blower on her, and this thing is loud and in charge. Everything, when this thing fires up, everybody stops and they flock to the staging lanes to see this thing go. And it's one fast car. Give you a look on the inside here. Well, after consulting the boogeyman, he told us that we need to have about a 6 to 7 thou gap in here. He uses the outside two butterflies to measure. You do that with a feeler gauge. About 6 to 7 thou here. He said he doesn't even use the leak down gauge to check his leak down. He just does it where he gets the best response at and gets it to run the best. And you know, he's obviously more old school, so he does it by feel and everything. But we're still going to keep the leak down tester to try to, just for reference, I guess if we change something, we'll know what we had as far as percentage goes. He also said to use like a old gear oil bottle or something like that. Cut the nozzle off real big. And what you'll do is you'll douse it down, close them, and then kind of bottle feed it right in there. And it'll eventually, once it does go, it'll start sucking it in. And obviously run it on its own. We need to give it more timing. We need to give it more alcohol. We're going to try it with alcohol instead of racing fuel this time, priming it, and see if that helps. Because, you know, he said if you're above 50 degrees temperature outside, you shouldn't really have a problem starting it on alcohol. But that's what we're going to try to do. And we were blowing drywall off the ceiling up there when this thing was fired. We had a helmet box fell down right there. Thumbtack came off the wall. There's stuff flying everywhere. This thing is loud. This thing is on a whole new level.
Awesome. I like that awesome smell.
Huh?
I love that awesome smell.
Yep. We got the body set on this thing. We're gonna get her out here in the sunlight soon. But what we tried, so we couldn't get it to idle lower than 3,000 RPM. This is completely new to us. I guess you're supposed to have this barrel valve notch at 12 o'clock. See if you guys can see that. There's a notch right there. There my thumb is. And it's supposed to be at 12 o'clock, and then you'll adjust it down. We got it set at the correct leak down right now. 65% with a leak down tester. That's what they call for. It's what they wanted on this particular setup. We know that we're getting fuel up here. We know everything's good, but we broke a nozzle back there. We broke I think it's called a jet inside of there. You have the body, which is this thing, and then you can change those out, bigger or smaller, just kind of like an air bleed or a jet and a carburetor. And we broke that, so I had to go to the guy's house the other night to buy another one, and I was looking at his, and I couldn't get this middle blade to drop to get the correct butterfly gap in there. So what was going on, I guess these only go in one direction. So I took this out. This one was right, and this one was right. This one was off, and I couldn't get all of them to set perfectly. So I flipped this one around, put it back in. Now we've got about 8 thousandths of gap in there. That's kind of in between of what everybody has been telling us because we've been getting multiple answers. But now that's sealed off. We know it's good. We got 2 return springs on it. These are temporary, just to hold it down evenly. But that's good, so we're going to go ahead and try that. We got the leak down set correctly in the ballpark, I suppose. We know it's getting fuel. We know how to fire it. We're going to go ahead and see what she'll do. Hit it. Had a little bit of a tranny line blowout here. We had push lock on there for the loop to return thing. And it just blew them off. One side completely blew off, and the other side was getting close to blowing off, so you had to get in there, and we put the one from Sloppy's transmission on it. That way we didn't have to make a new one up for now, and it'd be easier to make one for Sloppy because tranny's out of the car. But we didn't have lock nuts for these little screws to get them on in here, and they're all rattling loose, so we're either going to take the body off or try to tighten these up. We need to get some lock nuts for them, or lock washers or something. But getting this thing to idle down, I think we're figuring it out. It's definitely different. I think we figured her out. We got her down to about 1700 at idle, and she's pretty responsive. I think there's a little bit of cracking up when I was kind of sitting there and holding her like that. So we're probably gonna have to change that pill in there to fatten her up on the big end. On like the on a carburetor, you would do the big end circuit with air bleeds. You would fatten it up, and you would also fatten it up with jets, but that's more so a major change. But with this, you just change out the pill right in here, and you'll make it smaller so it returns less to the tank in the barrel valve. But this is, I tell you what, I don't think we're ever going to go back to carburetor. No way. But this thing is, we love it so much, we decided to get another one for the rear engine over here. This thing's going to come alive. It's just a tunnel ram, so it's naturally aspirated. We don't have a blower on it, but it's mechanically injected. We got the pump and the scoop and everything for it for a really good price, actually. Bought it used from the guy that was actually helping us, giving us tips and pointers and stuff like that on Moonshine over here. But it's coming together, man. This thing is responsive. But like I said, we'll probably have to fatten it up on the intermediate and high speed, which is just one pill, I believe. We'll have to do some more research on that. But that's what's up, man. This thing is coming together. There's still some more stuff to do. I think we're gonna roll it back and get some pictures of it and fire it up a couple more times. We're gonna get an EGT reading down here, see where we're at ballpark at idle, and then also see where we're at on the kind of crack it open too a little bit. But it's coming together. She burns through a lot of fuel.